Один день на плейдейте принести ее.
Okay, we're continuing, right? So, now, let's speak a little bit about what's the difference between love and to spoil. To love the child or to spoil the child. So spoil, they say, it usually derives from laziness. Well, love is a feeling that you give to your child, and this love you cannot buy with money or with sweets or with games that you're going to bribe your child with. When the child feels that you really love, okay, so it comes from you. The love is usually internal and it's very strong, and it doesn't depend on any of these things that we mentioned before. But pampering, but spoiling, it does depend on how many games you're going to buy or how expensive are the things that you're buying him, and you want certain, I don't know, phone or certain iPad or certain brand name, certain clothing, or you can measure, how much you give, and so how long you're with him, or what kind of sweets you're buying him. So it's interesting. Many times children, they love and respect parents that are strict with them, okay? They're not into spoiling and giving out all these things that I mentioned before, but they give unconditional love. And even though they're strict with them, with punishment sometimes, and the limitations and stuff, but when they see that it comes from true love, when the parents show that they really care for the children, that they really there for them, they're listening and everything, this is when the child, he appreciates that. They don't really care the quantity of the time that you are there or the quantity of the things that you're giving them, but the quality of time is very important. And so spoiling, they say, is usually coming, fulfilling all kind of requests of the child and serving him too. It comes to a ridiculous point when the parents of today, they have to serve their children. The child is not requested to do anything in the house, and you cannot even ask him to do anything, because now at this moment he's playing in his computer. Don't ask me anything. Or what is this? He got used to the fact that you fix his bed, that you collect the toys after him, that you prepare his dinner, that you prepare his stuff, that you clean and you do and you clean and you do and everything, and you keep kind of serving him all the time and buying him and giving him, and if you don't, this is when it starts, the ceremony. What do you mean you don't? So give too much, it's destroying the children. It's not really helping them. And it says, Shlomo Melech says in Mishlei Kaftet, Mefanek minoar avdo v'achareto yeh manon. Instead of the servant to serve him, he become the master of his servant towards the end, because he keeps helping him and giving him and spoiling all the time. A baby that's born to human being, human being, is not like any other animal. Other animals, a little oxen, a little horse, a little I don't know, any elephant that's born, usually they can take care of themselves right away. Human being is helpless. They cannot do anything on their own. They depend so much on their parents, because in a way, they're like an empty box, and the parents, their responsibility is to keep filling it up with all kind of contents, and this is the beauty of thing. Now, In psychology of today, the parents are equal to kids. And it's not true. Parents are not supposed to be equal. They're not their friends. It says, Ve'ayir pere adam yivaled. When you take an ox or a wild horse and you want to discipline it, so you have to work very hard. In order for you to be able to use it, you have to tie it first. You have to hit it here and there. You have to shake him a little bit up. And all these are for his benefit. And this would be also with children's education. The human being is born with evil inclination. That's how it said. And bad qualities he has. He has to learn to, and in order for us to divert him to a good, to a positive way, we have to put him limits. And of course, the basis should be with lots of warmth and lots of affection. And it says, we mentioned it last time too, it says in Masechet Sanhedrin, Gemara, Smol docha v'yamin mekarevet. The left side, which is the weak side, kind of pushes him away. Okay? But then you have yamin, which is the right hand, mekarevet, bring him closer. This should be the dominant hand, the yamin. For example, consistency, it's very important. After we studied some of the things of punishment, let's be consistent with punishment. Let's say Shira, okay? Shira, she found a box of crayons. First time she was holding a box of crayons. Usually the mother is the one that gives the box of crayons, and she controls where she colors and everything. At this time she found it by herself, and she took it and she started to color the walls in her bedroom. So the mother got very upset, but couldn't really punish her. Why? Because she never said anything before about that. She didn't warn her. She didn't know even how she got this box of crayons by herself, so she couldn't really punish her, right? So, but she warns her. Ima doesn't let you to take these colors and to color them everywhere you want. I'll give you some papers, only on these papers. Now let's see, a week later, she sees Shira again with these colors. This time she's painting on the door. And let's say she saw that her daughter drew a perfect circle on the door. And she's amazed, like, how did she do that? Now, she can make her mistake of her life and be impressed from this circle and tell you, oh my gosh, how did you make such a perfect circle? If she did that, she doesn't pay attention to the order that she has, that you never color on walls and on doors and only on papers, right? Or if she laughs about it, or she says something. So you yourself, you're ruining your own rule. Okay, so you have to be careful with consistency. Listen to this story. There was this little boy by the name Moshe. And Moshe was not an easy boy, and he was not also in a regular class. It was a special class for kids that were, I don't even know how you call it, kind of autistic, kind of disabled children, something. And he was on the verge of, he was mentally defective, a little bit kind of on the verge of it, so he wasn't a regular boy. And because he was in such a class, so the teachers, they did whatever they had to do for the children, but he never got a positive attitude from them or a negative attitude. He could do whatever he wanted. They knew that he doesn't understand things anyway, and they didn't pay attention. One day, though, he had a new teacher. And this new teacher came to the class, and that day particularly, this Moshe, he came very dirty to the class. The teacher tells him, until you're going to clean yourself, I'm not going to teach you. And this Moshe ignores him, like, who are you? And I do whatever I want. And this teacher keeps insisting, you're going to clean yourself, and then I'm going to sit with you. And he's not listening, and he's ignoring. and he's doing it again and again. But because the teacher did it with love, he takes him, he talks to him, he understands him, he holds him, he hugs him, he shows him a lot of affection. Slowly, slowly, this boy started to express himself. Like sometimes, usually they don't express themselves. They don't say how they feel about certain things. They don't explain. He never used to explain why he got dirty or what exactly happened to him. And he started to open up himself towards that teacher. Why did it happen? It's a hard boy, and it's not a regular boy, because he felt this affection. He felt that this treatment from the teacher, even though he was stubborn, even though he was insisting, even though he was very tough with him, but it came from affection because he cared about him. So let me give you some how do we motivate our children to do something that we want. Motivation could be negative and could be also positive, and it's very, very interesting. They made this experiment with bears. What do you know about bears usually? Usually these bears, they sleep during the winter and then they wake up and they search for food. Yeah, huge animals, right? That's what we know about bears. Are they musical? No, usually, right? Okay. Researchers, they made an experiment with bears. They put them into this big hole, empty hole, that had see-through windows all over, okay? Now, on the floor of this hole, they put very, very hot burning coals. And then they put on some very loud speakers, they put a certain music. The animals come inside, the bears, and they feel that the floor is burning, it's hot. Now usually they go on 4. Now they land only on 2 back feet, and they started walking in a weird way, kind of jumping, right, on these hot coals. There's music in there. People that watch from the outside, to them it looks like bears are dancing, right? So this experiment went on and on for several months. They did that. The bears were suffering. The bears didn't enjoy it a bit. It was hard for them. They didn't know what to do. They were walking in a weird way, right? They were jumping. So sometime later, they took off these burning coals from the floors, but left the music on. So as the bears came in, there was no music yet. They came in, they worked normally. But once the music started to come out from those speakers, they started to jump this weird... Why? Because their brain is very primitive, and in their mind, what do they remember with this music? That they suffer, that they pain, that their legs are painful, that it hurts them. So they started walking this weird way again, right? This is called negative motivation. When you, let's say your son doesn't like to do homework in math. Usually he tells you, I hate math. When they say that they hate math, they mean they don't understand math. Because math could be very interesting. Once you understand the method, once you understand the principle, you enjoy it. When you don't understand it, this is when you hate it. Mm-hmm. Same would be with other languages, foreign languages. Same would be with science, with history, with whatever, right? Now, so let's say he wants to do homework. I mean, he doesn't want to do homework in math. He doesn't want to do. You come and you ask him, "Where's your homework? Where's your notebook?" You look at the notebook, almost empty. He doesn't do anything because he hates it because he doesn't understand. So you ask him, if you keep telling him, why is it naughty. Why don't you do homework? You're like your father. You don't understand math. You don't understand anything. You're this. And you start accusing him and telling him all kind of names. You don't make him like math. You tell him you're not going to have a job. You're not going to be successful. You're not thinking. You don't have a brain. All kind of stuff like that. It's not going to make him like. So for him to do homework in math with you will be a whole big hassle and a whole big thing he doesn't want to go through. How do you change it to become a positive? How do you motivate him to like to do homework in math? So you come and you ask him, can I see your notebook? You look at the notebook, and let's say he shows you there's 50 problems that he has to solve. 50 problems. And you know that he doesn't know how to solve them because he hates math, right? You tell him, you know something? Today I'm going to solve all your problems. I heard this from one of the educators. He was explaining that. So you sit and solve all the 50 problems, and you then explain your son what exactly you did. And then the next day he goes, he shows it to his teacher. He doesn't say who did that. And he feels so good about himself. The next day he got 20 problems to solve, okay? So he comes to his mom and he's asking her, are you going to solve my problems today too? And she's like, I'm going to solve them, yeah, except the last one. Last one you're going to do. Okay, he says. She does all these 19 things, and when it comes his turn to do his last one, he doesn't know how to do it. So she's like, so let's forget about the notebook. What do you know? 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2. She asked him 2 times 2, 2 times 4, and he knows. It's basic, he knows. So you make a whole big celebration from this. You give to your children, I don't know, some potato chips because of that, and you sit together and you praise him and you give compliments and you tell your husband, you know, he's so excellent, he knows this and that. You make a whole big deal. It sounds funny, but the next day, when you ask him if he did homework, he'll tell you, yeah, we had only 2 problems and I did it already in school. Okay. Slowly, he's going to like it because in his mind it's not so negative as it used to be before. This is how we divert to it from negative. And also in spiritual things we do it. If, God forbid, praying, okay, davening is something that's supposed to be nice to the children, supposed to be something that they like. Also for us, you cannot force somebody in Judaism. It has to come from himself. So we cannot really force little kids to pray, to daven, to go to shul. It's something that's supposed to come from themselves. It's true that they don't know it yet, or what it is yet, but you give it to them as a nice experience. Definitely, if it's going to be 4 hours of sitting in shul and hearing, I don't know, Bukhari and all type of music for a little boy, 5, 6 year little boy, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be interesting. He's going to run around. He's going to make noise, and then he's going to hear from his father, "You make so much noises. I cannot take you to shul anymore." Whatever. More than that, let's say the mother, she gives, as we said before, this little goodie bag to the children as Shabbat comes in. So everybody gets it, and Moshe also gets it, right? The minute that he gets it, the father, whoops, takes it away. Now we have to go to shul. So he sees all his sisters are sitting and munching on all the, I don't know, the chips that they got, or the sweets that they got, or the special cookie that they got for Shabbat. And his father took it and put it on top of the refrigerator and tells him, only after shul, and only after meal, and only after you're a good boy, and if you're going to say Dvar Torah and Parashat Shavua, maybe then, you're going to get your goodie bag. So he goes to shul. Does he like being in shul now when his father just took away something that really is supposed to get? The whole thing, we make davening, we make it as something that he doesn't like so much, something that, in a way, some kind of a punishment, and especially if the father screams at him in shul, why you were this, and why you were that, and why you're not listening. We can make this, we can motivate them to pray, to daven, to the positive. If we want, we could do that. The question is how. If the son goes with his father to shul and they talk on the way, and the father, let's say the boy is asking the father, I heard it again in one of the classes that I heard. So he asks the father, "Oh, Abba, I'm looking at you as you're praying. Why when you're praying, you're happy and I'm not?" So it depends now how the father explains the whole, what is davening. So he tells him, that Hashem dafka really likes tefillah shel tinokot shel bet rabban, little kids that they pray. Hashem likes even more when adults pray. You know why? Because little kids, they're so pure. They didn't make sins yet. Okay? And because of that, Hashem loves their prayers even more. So he keeps asking you a question and he answers them. And he explains what is the tefillah, how when you say bracha, you say name of Hashem. So the angels take these words of the bracha that you said, and they make a crown out of it, and they bring this crown to Hashem. What is tefillah? Keter. We say keter in the tefillot. And when you explain these things to the children, davening all of a sudden becomes something else. It's not 4 hours sitting and torturing themselves in the shul and not understanding even what's the point, right? So we can divert certain motivations from negative to positive. Okay, so that's what I wanted to mention, and I'll go back now to. Okay, so now certain things that we have to do. Let's say you want your son to collect all the toys from the floor. Okay, practical things now. You have to tell him up to 3 times. It's collecting time, it's cleanup time, or whatever. If he doesn't listen, you say, okay, now mommy is doing it. You're not screaming, you're not getting angry. Okay, now mommy is going to do it. But when mommy is doing it, you're not going to get these toys anymore. Now it's his choice, what he wants to do. He's not going to get, and you're going to stand on your words, right? That he's not going to get it. So sometimes you let the child to be the judge himself, okay? You let him control to determine the situation, what's going to happen. Or let's say he lies, and very important when a kid lies to understand why does he lie. Maybe he's afraid of your response. Maybe he's afraid from a friend. Maybe he's afraid. There's a reason why he's lying. So very important to sit down, not to get upset and crazy, and sit and ask him what is the reason. And so he comes and he tells you something, and they do sometimes exaggerate, and they do sometimes have very, very high imagination. Right? Sometimes say all kind of lies in school about their siblings, about their parents, about whatever. So you tell him, it's very hard for me to believe in this because last time you didn't say the whole truth. I don't know. Let the child understand himself the consequences of what he did without yelling and screaming and lying at him. Let's say she doesn't want to wash dishes. You have to sit and explain her. Every person in the household have rights and obligations. Okay? And if she doesn't understand that she has an obligation to wash dishes, okay, so you could prevent some of the rights too. Okay, so this one rabbi says that you tell her a few times to wash the dish, she doesn't want to wash dishes, you say, okay, no problem, Ima is going to wash the dishes, but you're not going to wash her plate. The next meal, she won't have a clean plate. And it will bother her. And he didn't scream, and he didn't yell, okay? And again, he's the judge of his thing. A child doesn't want to eat. Usually, let's say parents sit and feeding their children. Usually the mother gets upset why the children don't eat, not the father. Why? Because you prepared the meal, you did, you cut, you cooked, you did. And when the child don't eat, it's like, you're getting it personally. Like he doesn't care about all my hard labor, and it bothers us, right? So don't think like that, because he doesn't want to hurt you personally, or it's not in that level yet. But you don't let him, you say, if you don't want to eat, that's fine. After a few times, you say, you just take this dish from him, this plate, and he's not going to get anything until the next meal. Don't be afraid, they're not going to get to starvation, they're not going to starve, or you don't give any snacks in between, especially not to the one that didn't eat his food. And this rabbi said here that you can tell him the same way that you're our son, our child, to get food, to get this right. Okay, so you are our son to get snacks when it's snack time. But if you don't want to eat, you don't get any snack. So no screaming, no yelling, and he will learn that in order to get the snack, or in order to be like everyone, he'll has to. It takes time. You need to be patient. You need to. When punishing, also when somebody, let's say, doesn't get up on time, so you wake him a few times, he doesn't wake up, it's up to him now. He will have to answer his teacher, his principal, his school boss, his I don't know what. It's up to him. It's not your obligation. Let him deal with his problem, and it's okay. It's fine. When we punishing, it has to be with limits also, because if you're punishing very often, you lose the effect of punishment. It's not so strong. Also, people get used to punishments, and when they get used to it, they don't care about it so much. People get used to everything. People get used to, let's say, extreme weathers like we have now, very, very cold, and people get used. In Alaska, they live it like that all the time. In Africa, they live in hot weather, and they get used to it. They get used to antibiotics. They get used to... People also get used to punishment, little kids. And you have to be careful. They won't pay attention. They'll tell you, so who cares? Or they will be chutzpahdik or something. And when a child is chutzpahdik, putting too much force on it now, it's not going to work out. It's going to be the opposite. And do the opposite. Give him compliments, hug him. As we say, yamin mekarevet. After giving him a punishment, give him a big hug, because you show him, you tell him that you love him and you care for him. Once he sees that you don't avenge on him, or you don't want to this is when he's going to accept. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very hard for him to accept from you. I want to tell you that a praying of a mother is the strongest tool in children's education, and we spoke about this in the past too, because that's sometimes that works out. There was this boy that he was born in a very, very big family, a lot of kids over there, and they sent him to this dormitory, and he got connected to bad boys. And they did all kind of mischief, they did all kind of shiur and all kind of nonsense, and the teachers were upset, and then, but his mother kept praying for him all the time. She keeps telling him, I pray for you, you should become a big Talmid Chacham. As a Talmid Chacham, he's with bad boys and this. And then one day a miracle happened. One of the rabbi's sons, he meets him in the hallway and he tells him, do you want to study with me? He's like, sure. If he studies with him, he gets better conditions, he gets better friends, he gets better everything. He got a better room even. And of course, so he started, and he introduced him to better friends, good there. All of a sudden he started to have a good name, good reputation. Everything became all of a sudden better. And he says, oh, why? I know, it's because of my mother. She prayed for me. So, Bezat Hashem, I hope you keep praying for your children's chinuch, for education. And Bezat Hashem, lots of nachat and lots of bracha and atzlacha and all the best. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.